Erev Shabbos, everybody. In Parshas Vayakhel, Moshe Rabbeinu instructs Klal Yisrael to bring the donations and begin the construction of the tabernacle. And various items were necessary: gold, silver, copper, all types of precious stones were necessary. And Klal Yisrael, without any hesitation and with great alacrity and enthusiasm, they dispersed immediately after hearing from Moshe Rabbeinu this mitzvah, and they went and they brought all of the items that were required. And then it states, at the very end, after everything was brought, and after the people who found within them the desire to actually engage in the construction, and the women, it states that they came and they would sew and they would weave, and the women would do so with great wisdom. And then after all of this, it states the Nesiim, the leaders of the tribes, they brought the onyx stones and the very precious stones that were used to be worn on the breastplate, the choshen of the Kohen Gadol. And Rashi quotes from Reb Nosson. Why is it that we find that when the temple was, the tabernacle was erected, that the first ones to come to bring an offering to dedicate this tabernacle were the Nesiim, these very self-same leaders of each tribe? They were the first. And yet over here, when it comes to the donation to the tabernacle, they were the last. Rashi continues, and Rashi says that the Nesiim, these leaders said, let Klal Yisrael, let the community donate whatever they wish to donate to the construction, and whatever is missing, whatever is left over, we will finish, we'll donate the rest. And therefore, it states that because Rashi says, Lefishin is atzlu meschila, because they were lazy, atzlus means lazy, because they were lazy and they waited for Klal Yisrael to make the initial donations. Therefore, if you look, the way the word Nesiim is spelled is missing a yud. And they learned from their mistake. And therefore, once the tabernacle was erected and we had the altar of sacrifice, they didn't wait for anyone to come forward. They were the first ones to come forward. They learned from their error. This is Rashi's commentary on this particular verse. It's a little difficult to understand. Imagine you have a fundraiser for your synagogue, for your school, for your kollel, for whatever your organization is. And you go to various people and there's one exceptionally wealthy man, and you go to him and he says, let everybody make their donations. And when you fall short, come to me, I'll take care of the rest. Would we be critical of such a person? Or would we have thrown dinner in their honor? It's wonderful. Let everybody make their donations. And if we're missing 100,000, 200,000, 500,000, whatever it is, I'll take care of it. We wouldn't be upset. We wouldn't be critical. We wouldn't say you're lazy and we'll take a letter off your name. We'll put up plaques. We'll name the building after him. We'll do whatever it was. The person deserves all the honor in the world. What a wonderful individual. How do we understand this? The Nesiim say, let everybody do what they want to do. We'll take care of the rest. Oh, being lazy. That's being lazy. That is the epitome of the prototype of a nadvan, one whose heart motivates him to donate. What's taking place here? The truth is, Rashi in his commentary doesn't say that they sinned or they were negligent. Rashi says, Nisatzlu, they were lazy. What does mean lazy? Lazy could mean that a person has wonderful intentions and is going to do a wonderful thing. However, what about your attitude? Are you doing it with enthusiasm? Are you doing it with excitement? Are you doing it because you want to do it? Or you're doing it because I have to do it, it's the right thing and I'll do it, but I'm certainly not going to run to the forefront. That's being lazy. I'll do it when I have to do it. I'll procrastinate until the last minute and then I'll do it. This is the complaint of the Nesiim. How do we understand this? So the truth is we must understand what this tabernacle was. It's called the Mishkan Ha'edus, the tabernacle of testimony. What kind of testimony? What is it what's being testified? Klal Yisrael was on a remarkably high level. They witnessed all the miracles in Egypt. They sang the Shiraz Yasher Moshe after the splitting of the sea and the drowning of the Egyptians. They were eating man, heavenly food. They were protected by clouds of glory. There was a rock that was moving with them, from which came water to quench the thirst of millions of people. And they stood at Sinai and they said, we will listen. We accept God's Torah unconditionally. We submit ourselves to our Creator and we will serve Him. And then unfortunately came the incident of the golden calf, in which Klal Yisrael remained silent as the mixed multitude of Egyptians perpetrated this mistake. And even the mistake of the golden calf, it was not denouncing faith in God. It was trying to replace Moshe Rabbeinu. They thought that their great leader was missing and they needed some new force to act as an intermediary between man and God. It was a terrible sin. But it wasn't that they were denouncing their faith. And Klal Yisrael, for the most part, stood by in silence. And for that, Klal Yisrael was held responsible. And we lost the crowns that we earned at Sinai. What were these crowns? Crowns that said we had reached a level equal, if not surpassing, that of the angels in our spiritual connection to God. And we lost this. We lost it, and it says in last week's Parsha, Vayisablu, Klal Yisrael mourned. We were sitting shiva. We lost something, and we realized how foolish it was. Look what we had, and look what is gone. And God says, I will not come amongst you. I'll send an angel to lead you. Moshe Rabbeinu davens, and we're praying, and we're repenting. And then God says, I accept your repentance. Moshe, the 10 commandments that you broke, I will replace them. Ascend to Sinai with the tablets, and I will take the exact words from the original 10 commandments. I will inscribe them on these 10 commandments, bring them down to Klal Yisrael. And once again, we sense our bond with God. Perhaps not as strong as the initial 10 commandments, but nevertheless, we receive the 10 commandments from God. And now God says, I will present a testimony that my bond with you is eternal. And that is that my divine presence will rest amongst you. I shall dwell amongst you. And that is my tabernacle. This tabernacle wasn't for God, it was for us. It was demonstrating that despite our horrible, terrible mistake and transgression with the golden calf, God accepts our repentance. And we are still and will always be His chosen people. This is the tabernacle. Is it any wonder when Moshe Rabbeinu says to Klal Yisrael, this is what God is saying, donate gold, silver, copper, material, wood. We're going to work, we're going to build onyx stones, precious stones, rubies. And what does Klal Yisrael do? They run with the greatest enthusiasm. They're running, they're doing. As a matter of fact, they completed the actual vessels and all that was necessary for the tabernacle by the 25th of Kislev. And Moshe says, Moshe was amazed. Klal Yisrael did this. We had one focus, fulfill the will of our Creator and let it be a testimony that God has atoned and accepted our repentance and he dwells amongst us. With the greatest joy and the greatest excitement, Klal Yisrael engaged in all that was necessary to construct the tabernacle. And the Nesiim, they said, let Klal Yisrael do what they wish, we'll take care of the rest. When it comes to donating, when it comes to being a person who we can rely on, the Nesiim were wonderful. But is this the attitude that one should have when God says, I told you I would not come amongst you, and now I accepted your repentance, and here's the testimony? The Nesiim should have responded, and they should have said, we want to be the first. We want to be we're going to run to the beginning. We're going to run there. We're not going to let anybody be in front of us. We want to seize this moment and opportunity of showing our great enthusiasm and excitement that we are filled with the Spirit of God and desire to have this testimony of his presence amongst us for us to know and all humanity to know for all generations. But the Nesiim demonstrated a laziness. Let everyone else do what they need to do. We'll take care of the rest. They meant it sincerely. They were wonderful. But how could you be so relaxed? How could you be so blasé at a time like this? Imagine the chassan is standing under the chuppah and his bride is coming. And he's looking at his watch and he's checking the scores on his phone. He's looking at the stock market. His call is coming to him. This is the moment you've been waiting for, to be under the chuppah, the bond of marriage. And you say, well, let me know, I'll check, let me know when she gets here, okay? Until that time, I want to check my investments. What's wrong with this person? This was the complaint of the Nesiim. And for that, the letter Yud was removed. But they learned their lesson immediately. We make mistakes. And they learned immediately. And once the tabernacle was erected, they were the first to bring the offerings. Parshas Vayakhel and Pikudei always occurs just a few weeks before Pesach. And I was thinking, we're all going to make Pesach. We're all going to do what has to be done. We're going to get it done, and we'll do it. And we'll spend the money, and we'll do the cleaning and the cooking and whatever has to be done. But how we do it, are we going to do it in a lazy way? Are we going to do it as if to say, oi, I got to do it. It's got to be done. Oh, maybe I'll do it tomorrow or whatever. How do I cut corners? What do I do? Or perhaps what we should learn from the Nesiim is that here is Pesach. This is the Yontif in which we are reconfirming our incredible bond with God. He took us out of Egypt, not just thousands of years ago, but he took us as his chosen people to this very day and for all eternity. He demonstrated to the world that he is the creator and he is the master in charge of every iota, and nothing else is a reality, only God himself. And he did this through us, for us. This is our moment. Pesach, when we can say thank you to God. Pesach, look at all the mitzvahs. Yes, of course, it requires a lot of energy. There's no question. But we can do it with an attitude of, oh, I gotta do it, or an attitude of how blessed I am, how fortunate I am. God, give me the strength that I could show my appreciation for every mitzvah. Every bite of chametz that I take and I swallow, I'm fulfilling a mitzvah. Every countertop that I clean, I'm fulfilling a mitzvah. Every purchase that I make, which is for Pesach, I'm fulfilling a mitzvah. We are immersing ourselves in mitzvahs for 3-4 weeks before Pesach. Everything that we do, how blessed we are, how fortunate we are. And our children, they'll learn about Pesach. They'll see the Seder. But what they'll remember most of all is the attitude of their parents in the preparation. Let's seize the opportunity. Let's learn from the Nesiim, the leaders of the tribe, that we'll get it done, or I can't wait to jump in and get this done. We have to be like Nachshon ben Aminadab, jump into it, but there's a whole ocean of Pesach preparation for me. Jump into it. God will help us. We'll get it done, and we'll have a Chag Kosher v'Sameach. Have a good Shabbos. Stay healthy. Stay safe. Stay Jewish.